knight takes e5, queen e5 will, yeah, white is...
And he played it. He played rook e6.
This is complete craziness. I can't
bizarre.
imagine this.
And this is why Ding Liren played rook e2. That was a really subtle idea. It was just defending, of course, a pawn that was under attack. But he made it so Jan could not successfully play this active move f5. So I think that
he had an absolutely crazy game in the World Championship today, game 12. Ding Liren played d4, knight f6, knight f3, d5, e3, and after c5, he played knight d2, the Collie system. A slightly not so popular opening. He has also won a game with the London, and now he has played some consider this a dubious system, not that popular, the Collie system. Basically, the idea is you'll play bishop d3, c3, and use the pieces to attack and get the break on e4 and attack on the king side. So takes, and now queen c7, pawn c3, bishop d7, and bishop d3. Knight c6, castles. Bishop g4, rook e1. e6, and knight f1. A nice knight maneuver to get it to the king side. Bishop d6. Bishop takes knight is not a threat yet because h2 is defended by the knight. But it's not a good diagonal, the bishop. Bishop g5. And here comes a very important moment. Bishop takes knight is slightly in the air, but not now because king is not yet castled. Like if black makes a waiting move and you take, I can take back, and then black can castle long, using the g file for the rook. Nepo plays castle short. A very nice decision which made Ding think for a long time. And Ding played bishop takes knight. A more quieter option would have been bishop h4, and then bishop g3 and keep a small advantage in the position. But yeah, this is the more active option, the most dynamic option, and Ding needs a win. So he is inviting chaos into the board. And chaos ended because after pawn takes, black will just try to use the g file, and black's plans are very easy to play. Like there's good activity for the black pieces. Ding plays knight g3, pawn f5, blocking out the diagonal and preparing f4 for later. Here pawn h3, takes, and knight e7. He is getting his knight to the king side for defense and maybe for offense, heading to h4. Here knight h5 was played. There's a nice little square on f6 for the white knight, right? So position is fairly even now, but bubble is about to break. There is going to be big things happening on the board from here. Black plays king h8, a very natural move, getting out of the knight f6 check and preparing rook g8. Here Ding played g4, a strong move. He's basically opening up this diagonal for his bishop and queen and making knight f6 a queen f6. This is actually the if black takes, it's over. Queen f6 and mate. So he can't do that. So g4 is a very strong move, and here comes rook g8 by Nepo, pinning the pawn. So Ding plays king h1, right? Now Nepo plays knight g6, also a good move, heading to the f4 h4 squares. Bishop c2, making the square available for the queen in case the diagonal opens up. Useful move, kind of waiting. Knight h4 and queen moves to e3. Queen doesn't head to d3 instantly. It stays a little active on e3 for now. And now rook g6. So Nepo's plan is very simple. He wants to bring his other rook in, and then at the right moment, maybe take. There is a pin, but maybe rook h6 and then take. So that's his plan. He just wants to activate his other rook. And also it controls f6. So there's no knight f6 anymore. Rook g1. And now f4. Because pawn takes pawn was kind of in the air. So rook, pawn f4. Queen moves to d3. Queen e7. Bringing the queen also to the attack. If that queen can land on h4, then there will be threats on h3 square. Queen h3 mate if the white queen is not there. Here rook e1 was played and queen g5. So here Nepo has played very well and he has got a nice position. Pawn c4. So Ding is desperate to create counterplay. So he plays c4. So that after takes, the diagonal opens up and you can play d5. So his idea is he plays queen c3, opening up this diagonal to the king. Nepo plays pawn b5. Very nice move. He's just defending his pawn. He's just saying I'm a pawn up. If d5, there's always e5. And black is just winning here. And now a4. This was another important moment. Nepo is a pawn up. And his pieces are active enough. He's solid. So white doesn't have any initiative that is deadly here. So Nepo could have just played a6, defending the pawn. Instead, Nepo played b4, which is objectively good, but after queen takes, he didn't follow up with the right move. The right move is very hard here. If you just follow the engine, you might think they missed so many wins, but the game was so complicated. I'll show you how. Because you might think knight f3, right? Knight f3 just wins an exchange. Black should play it, Nepo should play it, right? But if you play knight f3, there is queen c6. Then you might think after knight takes, either rook, queen takes rook, black and block, right? And the knight is attacking the bishop. But then the queen comes back to defend the bishop. So where is the win? Nepo couldn't find the win after knight f3. He saw queen c6. That's a problem. But the winners, let me show you, knight f3, attacking both the rooks, queen c6, attacking the knight and attacking the rook. So you got to take one of the rooks. Queen takes, rook will block. Now bishop is, sorry, instead of taking the g8 rook, it's better to take the e1 rook, right, for black. So now queen takes rook, rook g8. Now the difference is the bishop is hanging. So knight takes bishop is a threat. So queen e4. Knight takes bishop, queen takes back, and then comes queen h4. Not easy to calculate this much, but yeah, let's say you calculate that also. And now queen d3, defending h3. Queen f2 is not really an important pawn. So let's say now you play f5, threatening f takes g4, because there's a pin here. So that's a good move. Now white plays queen f3, defending g4. Then you take, white takes, rook takes, queen takes, exchange everything. And the point is b3. That's the winning move. The knight is out of play. When knight moves, there comes bishop to a3. Can you calculate all of this when you're sitting on the hot chair of the World Championship match with 38 minutes on the clock? Maybe if you have Magnus Carlsen, but this is definitely a hard task to see till here. I mean, they're capable of it, but with nerves, that becomes hard. So that is why he didn't play knight f3. It's a long line, unlike what the engine might make you think. Now, back to the game. He played rook g8 instead of the winning knight f3, did Nepo. Now Ding played queen c6, a natural move, stopping knight f3 and attacking the bishop. Now bishop went back, also natural, right? Saving the bishop. Here, Ding could actually take the rook. One move back, that was not possible. Like over here, after takes and rook g8, here you can't take the rook. Because if you take the rook, there is pawn takes, and now your knight is out of squares. Knight's trapped. That is why that's not possible before. Now after queen c6, bishop b8, here it is possible to take, because after bishop takes, pawn takes, there is a very tough move to find for Ding this time. And he might have found it if it was a regular tournament, maybe. And that is d5. What is the idea? The point is, if you play knight f3, it looks like an active move. There is e takes. Now, whichever rook you take, let's say you take the e1 rook, he takes f7 and you're completely crashing. Because if rook f8, there's just rook takes knight and this is coming. Rook 8 is coming, everything is going down. Queen 8 is also there. So you can't play knight f3 here. Instead of knight f3, what if you take? What if you take the pawn? Then knight f6. Rook is attacked. And if you move your rook, let's say rook to d8, then comes rook e8. Now again you're crashing through, you're winning. What if g takes h5? What if you take the knight in this position? Take the knight. Then we just play d takes e6. And the point is, let's say you play f takes back. If you play f takes back, just rook takes. And again we're crashing through. White's pieces are just too active. So this is the idea behind playing d5 move. And if queen takes, then we just exchange. Because don't forget, black was counting on taking the knight, which is almost trapped, which was trapped. But after the exchange, it's no longer trapped. So the knight escapes. That is the problem with all these moves. d5 allows the knight to escape. If you take here, knight f6, knight escapes. And if you take here, f takes c6 becomes a problem. So this was a tough move Ding could not find. He plays queen b7. Here Nepo plays rook h6, just keeping the rook on an active file. And now bishop e4. From here, Ding plays some very solid moves, some very good moves, which throws Nepo completely off the chair. Bishop e4, because this knight f3 was always in the air, so the queen couldn't move. Right now, it's not a problem. F3 also is stopped, and this h3 pawn also can be defended if the bishop comes in. Here, Nepo played rook f8 because the f pawn is also hanging. So he defends it. That was quite an important pawn, right? So, for example, if you play f3, queen f7 can happen. So, rook f8, and now queen takes b4, attacking the rook, winning another pawn. You know, what is the material? It's a pawn up for ding right now. So queen d8, defending it, and now just queen c3, keeping the queen on the threat. But knight g6, because d5 is still not a problem. You can even play bishop e5 here. You don't even need e5, just bishop e5. So d5 is not a real threat right now. But the endgames will be good for white because white has got this majority. Ding has got a queenside majority. So it's up to black to show that he has got the initiative. But the problem for black is now Ding goes solid with bishop g2. There's no threats. Everything is defended properly. And if black has no threats, then just white can just start rolling. So Nepo is now in panic mode. He plays queen h4, bringing the queen back. And now comes rook e2, another nice move. Ding still doesn't play d5 because d5, e5, there can be f5 soon in that case. So for example, if you play d5, I have to play e5. And now let's say queen to c6, black can play f5. Now black has got threats. This is in the air and there is too much activity over here. If the bishop moves, like f3 bishop moves, queen h3 is mate. So you have to keep f3 also in the air. So that is why this move rook e2, that's a very nice move. It just keeps the position stable, defends the pawn, and it's basically passing the ball to Nepo, who has to show something here. Because this knight is defended, so you can't really sacrifice anything there. It doesn't work. So here, Nepo made a big blunder. He played f5. Allowing rook takes pawn, a second pawn. More important than the pawn, now the e5 block is no longer there. d5 is a big problem. What did he think? He thought probably f3 works. Because if bishop takes, there's queen h3 mate. And if queen takes, there is f into g4, opening the attack. But what did he miss? After f3, white can just go d5. Even bishop f1 works, but d5, the most active move. Because now if you go bishop e5, just takes. And if you take here, just rook takes. And if queen h3, just queen takes queen. So it doesn't work. And if knight takes e5, just queen takes back. And material-wise, white's now up by an exchange, but the problem is there's mate. If king moves, there's mate. So basically, black has to give back the material. And then there's anyway mate, queen b8. And if you play the other rook, then we can just take. We have too much material. After queen takes, take. What is the material situation? We've got 3 pawns extra. Completely winning position. So that is what he missed. He thought f3 works, but it doesn't work because of d5. So that was a big problem. Now Ding plays rook takes pawn, and this is where Nepo was totally disappointed with himself. Angry, he showed his emotions on the board. Because now 2 pawns down and d5 coming in the air. Nepo just played rook takes h5. I mean, just completely giving up. After takes, just queen takes. And now d5 came. And after king g8, just d6. And he resigned here because bishop d5 is coming. He removed the knight's threat on g7. The g7 mate threat was removed at the cost of a rook. But now bishop d5 is coming. And that seems like another problem because everything is opened up. So that was a very big turnaround for Nepo. Nepo came this close to becoming the champion. If he had won today, he would be leading by 2 points with 2 games to go. But then it slipped right through his hands. And it was mostly because of his speed, basically. He is down to 2 minutes here, but at all the critical moments, he did not take time to think. There were a lot of moments where he could have changed the fate of the game. And it culminated in this blunder of f5. So with 2 games left, the match is tied at 6-6.